Hello, right now it is July 20th and it is almost 3 p.m. right now. I'm making this video right now about Farrah the Greedy Framer. Basically, she has been harassing me every single day since June 16th. And on June 16th, I let her know right there and right then that I was not interested in marrying her daughter, Zara, at all, not one bit. And there was no way I'm getting married to that abnormal daughter of hers. I'm not interested in her. I do not want her. No way. Thank you very much for asking. After June 16th, law enforcement informed her that Hassan said no, that he was not interested in marrying your daughter. And Farrah the Greedy Framer has sent me at least 51 forced marriage requests. 51 forced marriage requests since just the last month, June 16th, 2026. Right now is July 20th, and that's 51 forced marriage request since it's 52 total. But after the first one, I told her straight out that I do not want to marry her. She was told that he doesn't want to marry your daughter, and she sent me 51 forced marriage requests. Okay, so basically after July 6th, I had it labeled as being a prenup marriage scam. Basically, the reason was due to the fact that it was it was an obvious fact that there are a lot of people that I could marry after my brain savant is freed, and if she would be forcing me to marry her daughter, it would only be due to the force of false testimonies November 20th that she was fully involved in. She was fully involved in November 20th. We know this for a fact due to the fact that the government's informant said that she was fully involved, and she was kicked out of the spokesperson stand as soon as the government informant was announced for November 20th, 2025, clearly showing that Farrah the Greedy Framer took part in fabricating, not just fabricating, but exaggerating false testimony against me on November 20th, 2025 that was so badly exaggerated, despite the crime inciting not even existed, that no news anchor on CNN could smile on live TV for days after November 20th, 2025. And you see Governor Josh Green on November 27th saying confusion is the enemy. We have to remove the confusion from here. Confusion is the enemy. The reason he was saying this was not due to the vaccine confusion. You could tell from the CNN anchor's face, she looked like she was so badly puzzled and like she was scared, like what just happened? This guy's son, can't believe he did this. He didn't look like the type. Well, she was right. I'm not the type, and I didn't do it. Farrah the Greedy Framer had her hands all over November 20th, 2025, where the government informant testified that she was fully involved in November 20th, 2025 false testimony against me, due to which she was removed from the spokesperson stand right away as soon as it was found out that there was a government informant, clearly showing from facts and evidences that Farrah the Greedy Framer that she was fully enviously trying to lock up my brain savant just so that no one else, I couldn't marry anyone else, since I did not want to marry her daughter, her abnormal looking daughter Zara, that she's still sending me ads for. Even today, July 20th, she sent me at least 2 ads for her daughter, her abnormal looking weirdo daughter named Zara, that I'm not interested in marrying, and she was only trying to enviously lock up my brain savant on November 20th, 2025, due to the fact that she sent me ads all year 2024, all day, night long, Harbor Freight Hercules from morning till night, Sheba, Fancy Feast, cat food ad, all these ads all day, night long, meant to be either for her or her daughter, almost as if I was like getting married to both. Now, we know for a fact Farrah the Greedy Framer is a very dirty and disgusting individual. She might be dressing up like a nun, but she never told her brother to have some manners and not send me a porn star named Sunny Leone's picture with her name Farrah written on it on February 11th at 3:17 a.m. Due to her not saying this, the courts had to let her brother know, my dad, the Greedy Framer, look, if you send a porn star's picture with your sister Farrah, the big fat ugly old woman's picture name written on it, then that's an open advertisement for incest. She didn't say anything to him when he sent it again on March 7th, 2026, 3 times on March 7th, 2026. Very disgusting individual this woman Farrah is. She was sending me all these incest requests on March 7th, despite it being labeled an incest request, only because she was caught with not just November 20th, but the subsequent lies that were also confessed to the government informant as being complete and total lies. Now, the thing about it is, after July 6th, I got sick and tired of being asked to marry her daughter all day and night long, and I just got sick and tired, and I was just like, I don't want to marry your daughter, lady. And so what I ended up doing was I wrote it as is. I'm sorry, I didn't write. I made a video as is on July 6th. Consider the fact that on starting February 21st, Farah the Greedy Framer sent me blackmail price tags for $60 million for me to call and accept this blackmail price tag. Now, you might be wondering, like, if she sent you a blackmail price tag, your brain savant's not freed yet. What are the what are the chances you're going to give that money after your brain savant's freed? You got to remember, there's no other option she has on February 21st. She's been caught creating mass panic and chaos using national security for her own personal selfish motivations. Her personal selfish motivations are seen clearly in her actions. You have to remember the fact that the entire year of 2024, all Farah the Greedy Framer did was send me requests and ads for her daughters, Verda, through her Harbor Freight Hercules all day night long, and her other daughters all day night long, Sheba Fancy Feast cat food ad. This is all pretty much all she was doing all day night long throughout the entire year of 2024. Now, the thing about it is just the fact that it's an obvious fact that people like Farah the Greedy Framer are using national security for their own personal selfish goals of locking up my brain savant due to realizing that I'm not going to marry her daughter, and so I shouldn't be able to marry anyone else's daughter either. We know this for a fact since June 16th, despite realizing the fact that I told her, no, I do not want to marry your daughter. I do not want to marry your daughter. I'm not interested. No way. No way. And so she still sent me 51 requests after that. So it's been exactly 52 requests for me to marry her daughter. But since I already said no the first time, she was already told by law enforcement, the other 51. So for the past 35 days, I've been sent around 35 days or so. Give or take. I've been sent around 35 days or so, but the number is exact. She sent me 51 forced marriage requests, basically saying, I'm not asking you, I'm telling you that you have to marry my daughter. How do we know this? Because of the fact that after the first one came to me on June 16, 2026, I told her straight out, look, lady, I'm not interested. I don't want your daughter. No, thank you. Thanks for asking. Okay. After that, she still sent me 51 requests, like after getting rejected. The pretty weird thing to do, which was pretty basically like saying, I'm making false testimonies against you, so I'm not asking you, I'm telling you. So at which point on July 6th, I got sick and tired of it. On July 6th, I labeled it a prenup marriage scam due to the fact that Farah the Greedy Framer in the past on February 21st, 2026 has even sent me 8 requests for 8 requests from February 21st for at least 8 requests for $60 million. You might be thinking, well, what if you don't give it after your brain savant gets free? She had no other option. She was caught lying twice. November 28, 2025, to make sure that I couldn't marry anyone else since I wasn't wanting to marry her daughter, which we now know. We see like 52 is a big number in the past 35 days, and 51 are basically forced marriage requests saying, yeah, I'm not asking you, I'm telling you you have to marry my daughter. Like, no, thank you. That doesn't, like, the 21st century we're here. You can't force someone to marry your daughter. And the other thing is just the fact that, if you've been caught lying this many times, she's sending me blackmail price tags for $60 million. You got to remember the fact that this is the only option she has. She thinks that I don't know that she's been caught lying. Law enforcement told her straight out right then and there, he knows that the $60 million price tags you've been sending him, it's because you've been caught lying once again. Obviously, her sister, Ibrahim, the Greedy Framer spokesperson's mother, envious mother, told the government informant that they had more planned lies against me even after November 20th, just to make sure my brain savant that their daughters could not profit off of, no one else's daughter could either, due to extreme envy, due to which as soon as they get caught, they go for greed, sending me blackmail price tags for $60 million at least 8 times starting February 21st. Now, the thing about it is that's the only option she had, but thinking that I did not know that, she was basically, yeah, said, thinking that I didn't know that she was basically caught once again, and law enforcement told her straight out that he knows that you've been caught once again, and that these lies have also been confessed to the government informant as being complete and total lies and nothing else. So basically, yeah, you have to remember the fact that out of the 52 that have been sent to me since June 16, 2026, 51 are forced marriage requests, not basically saying, I'm not asking you, I'm telling you. And I was just like, I'm telling you, I do not want your daughter, and I'm not marrying her. Your abnormal looking daughter, Zara. Now, the thing about it is, this woman just won't quit. After July 6th, I labeled it a prenup marriage scam due to the blackmail price tags that I've received before, and also due to the fact that no one marries someone's daughter when that person is making false testimonies against them over and over again, out of extreme envy that if my daughter doesn't get married to him, then no one else's does either. So that's 37 confirmed prenup marriage scamming blackmails that I've received since July 6th. 37 prenup marriage scamming blackmail since July 6th. Since on July 6th, I labeled it what it was, a prenup marriage scam. I basically get forced into signing a prenup marriage scam where she puts in her $60 million demand, and like how she's going to court right now, she would go after I would be forced to marry her daughter and then obviously run away. I'm not going to marry someone's abnormal daughter just because she was making false testimonies against me, which is what she was doing. False testimonies and exaggerations is all she's made against me. You have to remember the fact that Farrah the Greedy Framer is an expert at making false testimonies against people. She made it on November 20th, 2025, due to the fact that I did not want to marry her daughter. Then she made it again afterwards, only to find out that these false testimonies were also already confessed to the government informant as being complete and total lies. And then she tried to send me incest requests and blackmail price tags. We know those were incest requests due to the fact that on February 11th at 3:17 a.m., her disgusting brother was already told that if you send a porn star's picture, it's an open invitation for incest, and yet she's and her brother were still sending on March 7, 2026, only for the greed for money. Now, before we proceed, there is something that I need to show to the courts, exactly how disgusting this woman, Farrah the Greedy Framer, is, basically. Yeah, so 37 confirmed prenup marriage scamming blackmails that I've received since July 6th after it's been labeled a prenup marriage scam. Basically, Farrah the Greedy Framer is basically admitting to the fact that she is using the trial where she's already been caught lying on November 20th and then caught lying again after November 20th with false testimonies that she knew very well were false because it was already confessed to the government informant by her sister or her as being complete and total planned lies. And then you have other false testimonies even after that, after she tries the incest request on March 7th, after it was already labeled as an incest request on February 11th at 3:17 a.m. And she sends me blackmail price tags mainly for $60 million at least 8 times starting February 21st, 2026. She starts again on April 2026 making false testimonies against me again, very aggressively, that were found to be complete total lies from the facts and evidences retrieved from the phone conversations. Now, this is the new trick. So basically, the June 24th, 2026 brain savant test that was done, it was overanalyzed. So basically, law enforcement already knew that my brain savant powers are superhuman as they are from August 6th, August 9th, 2022. And so it was a 6-hour long test. It's undeniable. So basically, yeah, what ended up happening was they did an ears only test on April 22nd, when these ears were all the way in the back of my head, April 22nd, 2025. And so they did a similar test on June 24th, 2026, just last month. So what ended up happening was law enforcement obviously does not want to know all the details on the brain savant test because they know what the reality is. I am Kim Peek Rain Man. Without a doubt, I'm one of the fully functioning members of society that are also autistic at the same time. I had a brain savant. It was fully proven that it evolved over time from the age of being around 9-year-old child on January 20th, 2026 through the time machine that they have. I call it the time machine. So yeah, by now it's evolved to giving me superhuman powers like Kim Peek Rain Man, except for instantaneous photographic memory. I also have innovation in focusing. If you don't believe the artificial intelligence report, you got to check with common sense, because common sense dictates that if artificial intelligence is saying something about my brain savant that no one told me what the report says, and I'm able to tell what the report says, then either someone told me what the report says or I'm psychic. But yeah, it takes 30 minutes to show to the world exactly what these powers are really like. But so what happened was they were extremely envious recently, getting rejected by these girls. Yesterday, Junaid had one of the girls that he didn't know were running after me. He never even knew these people, and he was running after the girls, and basically the girl threatened to call the police on him, or maybe she actually did yesterday. And right now it looks like it's a pretty bad scene outside. Like, there's not one car. Like, they were trying to convince me of something like, oh, they're all having fun. I was like, yeah, let me show you how much fun they're having. I opened up the curtains for my balcony. I was like, after the humiliation you guys had to face yesterday with someone threatening to call the police, any of these humiliated people that go past my street right here, very brave souls, I have to say. Let me show you. Let me show you. Look at how dead this street is. Look at that. Not one car passing by. Not one car. Absolutely humiliated. They were trying to convince me that they're all like going out and this and that and blah, blah, blah. All right, one brave soul. One brave soul. All right, so usually it's like a car passes by here every single second. You see one brave soul over here. And even that is, oh, wait, that's just someone being dropped off because he's getting off of work. But this entire street is absolutely dead right now. So one car, but basically it's compared to how it is usually, it's like the entire lane is like filled with cars, and the cars going past, and it's basically there's no car right now. And the main reason is due to the fact that obviously they had the police threaten on Junaid again yesterday, and in case someone's like, who told him? All I have to do is literally open up the balcony, and I would just be like, just look outside. So badly humiliated. Anyone that goes by, I would call them a very brave soul. It would either be a lady trying to show off in front of me, or a very brave soul I would call. Literally no one outside. I mean, I don't mean to blow my own horn with the lady thing. I'm not that special, I know. But anyways, yeah. So basically, these people are getting badly humiliated right now, and they had the police call on them again yesterday, or threatened to do so on Junaid, mainly due to their sex addiction. So basically what ended up happening was the June 24th, 2026 brain savant test, they had to gamble over this. They were like, we know for a fact he has powers, his powers are really powerful, but we're getting rejected by these girls like crazy. So right now the only option we have is to overanalyze this. It could either be one of two things. Either his powers decrease, in which case we go tell the girls right away, his powers decreased, his powers are not there anymore, it's decreasing, you guys don't have to worry. Rain Man ain't Rain Man, and or his powers increase, in which case we're screwed. But we're already screwed right now as it is, because the girls are threatening to call the police on us every single day. So we're already screwed as it is, but it could only get better. So obviously they overanalyzed the brain savant test. Messing with Rain Man. Obviously I won my bet again. Yeah, powers increase. Sorry. Yeah, I am Kim Peek Rain Man. Sorry to break it to you guys like that, but it is what it is. What can I say? Well, anyways, all these people found out, and Farrah the Greedy Framer found out, and Farrah the Greedy Framer now started harassing me around July 14th, 6 days ago, with not just one daughter, but two daughters. Now, but look at how she advertises her daughters. This is July 14th, and it is 8:51 a.m. Okay, this is how she's advertising her daughters to me. Let me show it to you. Okay, this is the woman who dresses up like a nun. Look at what the girl in the gray is wearing on top, and look at what the girl in the blue is wearing on the bottom. Yeah. This is like being sent for the daughters of a woman dressed up like a nun. And she's dressing up like a nun and sending these pictures to me to try to seduce me and get me to marry one of her two daughters, Zara or Ifra. And this is how she's sending it to me from court. Through law enforcement while she's dressed up like a nun. So if God only knows how it would have been like if she wasn't sending it through law enforcement, she wasn't dressed up like a nun, and the court case wasn't ongoing, and she found out that my brain savant test from June 24th, 2026 from last month was overanalyzed. God only knows what she would have sent me if there wasn't a trial going on where she would have looked incredibly guilty sending me something like this. And it would have had to be through law enforcement. And except for having to be through law enforcement, she would have had to send it to me while dressing up like a nun 24/7. God only knows what she would have sent me. Look at the girl in the gray, the top for her, or the girl in the blue, the bottom for her. This is supposed to be her two daughters, Ifra and Zara. This is how greedy this woman is, okay? Absolutely greedy, lusting after money. As soon as she finds out that I am Kim Peek Rain Man, she goes all out. All in for one of the two daughters of mine, July 14, 6 days ago. She just like, get one of the two daughters from me. You have to remember the fact that Furry the Greedy Framer is basically arguing against me in court right now, trying to lock up my brain savant using exaggerated false testimonies, everything she possibly can to make sure that my brain savant is fully locked up. And at the same time, she's sending me these perverted pictures while being dressed up like a nun, sending it while there's a court case going on, knowing that I'm going to show it in the trial, and knowing for a fact that she has to send it through law enforcement itself, so the evidence is going to be there for sure, and she still does not care one bit. All she wants to know is Hassan really liked the pictures and he was really seduced by them. That's all she wants to know, so that she could actually get her gambling thrill and start running after me like a psychopathic, greedy, lustful woman that she is. And this is coming from a woman who's dressed up like a nun, so God only knows what would happen if she wasn't dressed up like a nun. Well, anyways, you know what the motive is for all her exaggerations and the false talking points against me right now. Everything is documented. All of the things that she's sending me are all sent through law enforcement. And yeah, there's no doubt about it that this woman is absolutely crazy when it comes to money. She will do anything, including send me that kind of stuff for her daughter, while knowing that she's sending it through law enforcement. There's a trial going on where she's enviously trying to lock up my brain savant, the same person that she's sending these pictures to of her daughters, two of them, Ifra and Zara, and at the same time, she's dressed up like a nun while she's sending it to me. So yeah, we can't imagine what would happen if there wasn't a trial going on, she wasn't dressed up like a nun, and she wasn't sending it through law enforcement. Like, I would have to have, like, super locks on my doors at the house. Like, I don't even know. Anyways, the thing that I have to let the courts know about is the fact that Furry the Greedy Framer is going to basically refer to law enforcement as being patriotic and good men. Mainly due to the fact that law enforcement she's using to basically lock up my brain savant, because I'm not going with any her daughters, so I can't go with anyone else's daughter either. And just today, July 20th, she sent me 2 requests for her daughter Zara. Even though I said it on June 16th, like, lady, I don't want your daughter. Like, am I speaking what language over here? Like, Swedish to you? I'm saying I don't want your daughter. Like, if you need a translation, I could give it to you. You know, it's that sort of thing. And she's still sending it to me today, July 20th, 2026, which is basically like saying, I'm not asking you, I'm telling you. And I'm saying it back to her, like, lady, I'm telling you too, I'm not interested. This is not like one of those things you could just force someone to do. Obviously, she's running a prenup marriage scam, and it's been labeled as such. I mean, jokes apart, it's been labeled as such on July 6th, and she's already sent me a blackmail price tag for $60 million at least 8 times starting February 21st. Yeah, and... And then on top of that, she's already been like, this is like, I hate to say it, like, I'm not saying anything bad about the judges or anything like that, or the courts, not disrespecting them, sir, ma'am, but it's a very corrupt trial. I have to say, Furry the Greedy Framer was caught November 20th, 2025, fabricating a false testimony against me, where a government informant was present, where she fully fabricated and facilitated in the fabrication and exaggeration of a crime and setting that did not even exist, and yet it created mass panic and chaos in the news media, where the governors had to put aside their vaccine issue, like Governor Josh Green on November 27, 2025, just so that this thing could be dealt with. And why was she doing this? Farah the Greedy Framer was doing this because she found out that I had an extremely rare and profitable brain savant that was not going to her daughter, and she wanted to make sure that it doesn't go to anyone else's daughter. I mean, that much is a known fact right now. I mean, like 51 forced marriage requests that are ongoing right now. Like, it can't be about anything else, can it? It's just like she's saying, are you going to marry my daughter, or are you going to marry my daughter? And the answer to that is, I am not marrying your daughter, lady. I'd rather be alone. Like, seriously. Like, this forced marriage request, I know it's a prenup marriage scam. Obviously it is. But I'm not signing anything for anyone, okay? I'm not that weak. And she's sent me, what, 8 blackmail price tags for $16 million starting February 21st, hoping that I wouldn't know that she'd been caught lying again, due to which she's sending it to me. Like, it doesn't work like that. It's not that easy. I'm not that stupid. I wasn't born yesterday. Obviously, she was caught lying again, and trying to get illegal assurance of money from me was the only option she had left, even though she knew that there was nothing promising her that I would actually give it to her after my brain savant would free. Well, obviously I would not, but obviously this prenup marriage scam, she would write it in there. But I have to say, with all due respect to the trial in the courts, this is a very corrupt trial. I mean, she was sending me requests for her daughter all throughout 2024, all day, night long. Her daughter and the Sheba Fancy Feast cat food ad was basically incest requests, only because of greed of finding out about my extremely rare and profitable brain savant, which we know for a fact, since even after February 11th at 3:17 a.m., she's still sending me the same porn star's picture, not telling her disgusting, ugly old brother to not send it to me on March 7, 2026, 3 times. These people are absolutely gone mad with the greed. So basically, yeah, these people are insane. The trial is very corrupt, I have to say. The person making a false testimony against me on November 20th, Farah the Greedy Framer and her Framer sisters, were never asked, like, you guys were trying to get him married to your daughter all year 2024, and now you're claiming that he committed a crime that you witnessed on November 20th, 2025. Like, why were you trying to get him to marry your daughter, and, like, why did you just remember this crime right now? No one in the court trial ever asked these people that. Instead, these people were basically using national security to their own personal advantage of trying to lock up my brain savant, only so that no one else could profit off the brain savant that their daughters could not profit off of. Very serious thing, using national security for your own personal selfish motives, creating mass panic and chaos. And if you don't believe me, just look at the news media after November 20th. These news anchors could not smile on live TV for days, probably because they liked me and they couldn't believe that Hassan actually did this crime, which I was just like, I did not commit this crime, people. And yeah. And so Farah the Greedy Framer, even after that, was making false testimonies against me. And it was just like, you know, and it's just, this woman is insane. Those false testimonies after November 20th were already confessed to the government informant as being false. And then after that, she tried sending me incest requests on February 11th, 3:17 a.m. Then again, March 7th, even though it was already declared incest requests on February 11th, she was still sending it on March 7th, 2026. This woman is absolutely insane. Then she tries to make more false testimonies against me starting early April 2026 that were found to be complete and total fabrications from the facts and evidences retrieved from the phone conversations. So basically, yeah, this woman is an expert fabricator and exaggerator. You have to look at the amount of false testimony she's made, and also the fact that she's also made a false sexual accusation against me at one time, that she confessed to Sohaib on a phone call that she made it against me, clearly showing from facts and evidences that she is expert at exaggerating and fabricating false testimonies, that she is even confessed to being really good at making in the past. And except for that, she's also made a false testimony against someone in law enforcement that basically she was sleeping with, and then one day she just woke up in the morning and she's like, I think I feel like he is trying to rape me. Like, you've been sleeping with someone every single day. And she created so much mass panic and chaos over this false testimony against someone in U.S. law enforcement that not only did the Indian government have to go and lecture Joe Biden on human rights crimes, literally they had to go lecture Joe Biden on human rights crimes, because Farah the Greedy Framer at that time claimed that a man from U.S. law enforcement, the same person, by the way, who receives the monthly money from the unemployment disability fraud that the government basically put an end to literally almost only 2 months ago. He was receiving it for years. That same person, Farah the Greedy Framer, basically accused of wanting to rape and murder her. Suddenly one day, after sleeping with him every single day, one day she makes such a exaggerated false testimony against him that the Indian government literally had to go lecture Joe Biden on human rights crimes because of it. And later on we found out that she knew the person from before. She was sleeping with him the entire time, and suddenly one day she just wakes up and she decides that this person is trying to rape and murder me. Indian government had to contact me and let me know that my dad's younger sister was getting raped and murdered by someone in law enforcement. They had to go lecture Joe Biden on human rights crimes. Like, this is the level of mass panic and chaos Farah the Greedy Framer has raised before, only for us to find out in the end that her brother, my dad the Greedy Framer, talked to that person all day and night long. She doesn't care. And she used to sleep with that person before she made the exaggerated false testimony against him, saying that he wanted to rape and murder her, clearly showing from facts and evidence that she's an expert exaggerator, exaggerating a rape and murder charge against someone that she was sleeping with every single day previously, and then suddenly one day she wakes up and she says that this person's trying to rape and murder me. Due to which the Indian government had to contact me and go tell Joe Biden not to commit human rights crimes, only because of how exaggerated her false testimony was, which we now know due to the fact that her brother was talking to the person who was supposed to be raping and murdering her all day and night long, and she didn't care. And not only that, facts and evidences also show that before she made this exaggerated false testimony, she was sleeping with that person. And then suddenly she goes and claims to the Indian government that this person is trying to rape and murder her. Like, she's really she is one of those people that really go for something that she really wants really aggressively. So if she's making a false testimony against me, she's going after that false testimony against me very aggressively. And at the same time, if she wants me to marry her daughter, she's trying to force me to marry her daughter very aggressively. Both things being done at the same time doesn't make any sense, since she's claiming in court that I'm a bad person, or some sort of basically, obviously, she's not going to claim I'm a good person. She's claiming in court that I'm a very bad person, terrible human being whose brain savant should get locked up, not freed under any circumstances. And at the same time, she's sending me ads for her daughter that do not look like the kind of ads that, a woman dressed up like a nun would send to someone for their daughter. Just look at it. Look at the girl in the gray. Look at the top for the girl in the gray. And look at the bottom for the girl in the blue. Does it look like someone who's dressed up like a nun would send for their daughter? No. This woman is incredible, and she whenever she wants to do something, she goes after it like a psychopath. So now she heard about the brain savant test from June 24th being overanalyzed, and she got really greedy and lustful over the brain savant money. She went after it like a psychopath, not realizing that there's a trial going on where she's arguing against the person whom she's sending these almost nude-like pictures of her daughters, people resembling her daughters, to me, while there's a trial going on where she's claiming that I'm a very bad person whose brain savant should get locked up, not realizing the fact that she's using law enforcement to send it to me, so the evidence is going to be there, not realizing the fact that she's dressed up like a nun. But when she wants something, she goes after it very greedily, at any cost. The basic question has to be asked to Farah the Greedy Framer: if you think of Hassan as being such a terrible person, why are you sending these sexually explicit pictures of two of your daughters like that, while advertising, sending me forced marriage requests all day night long? Like, since June 16th last month, she 51 forced marriage requests. I said it the first time, it's 52 total, but I said the first time, I'm not interested. She still sent it to me, almost like saying, I'm not asking, I'm telling you. Well, I'm telling you back, I'm not gonna marry your daughter, okay? But yeah. So basically, Farah the Greedy Framer, she goes after things that she wants, even if it doesn't make any sense. This big fat ugly old fart sent me incest requests so many times already, which is absolutely disgusting, not appropriate at all. She really needs some psych help, and she's gone crazy over the greed and envy for money, where she either is greedily telling me to marry her daughter, which is still going on today, send it to me twice today, July 20th, or enviously trying to lock up my brain savant with false testimonies, which is why I'm saying, like, this trial is incredibly corrupt. She's made false testimonies against me November 20th. Then again, after November 20th, confessed to the government informant as being false. Then April, the entire month of April, phone conversations retrieved found that those were all lies. And then she's also sent me blackmail price tags. And on top of that, she's also sent me incest requests to try to get greedily try to get illegal assurance of money. And now she's sending me almost nudes for her daughters because brain savant test was overanalyzed. And at the same time, she's sending me she's sending me forced marriage requests for her daughters all day and night long, at least 51 so far in the last 35 days. This just seems like a very corrupt trial is all I'm trying to say. This woman should not be allowed to narrate in my trial against me, considering the fact that everything she's done in this trial is absolutely corrupt. She's lied over and over again, made false testimonies, made a mockery of national security. Not only that, she, except for lying, she's also sent blackmail price tags while the trial is ongoing. Except for that, she sent me incest requests when her brain savant test would be analyzed. And right now, she's sending me requests for forced marriage requests for me to marry her daughter. And on top of that, she sent me almost nude-like pictures of girls resembling two of her daughters to try to get me to marry them, only because of greed and the June 24 brain savant test being overanalyzed. And on top of that, she's sending me forced marriage requests for her daughter all day and night long. This is like an incredibly corrupt trial. I mean, what can I say? But one of the things that Farah the Greedy Framer is going to do is she is going to claim that law enforcement is really patriotic and good men, only because of the fact that she is getting help for revenge from me for not marrying her abnormal looking daughter Zara or Ifra, which I'm not interested in marrying. If I don't want to marry someone, I don't want to marry them. You know, it's that sort of thing. This is just corrupt and corrupting. This is not what a trial is supposed to be like. Anyways, so why Farah the Greedy Framer refers to law enforcement as being good men or patriotic, and why it is only for the greed for money that she could not get my brain savant money for her abnormal looking weirdo daughter, and how Farah the Greedy Framer's entire history of making false testimonies and exaggerations against law enforcement to cause mass panic and chaos. And so, it's just ironic that her false testimonies from 2019 are against law enforcement themselves, and she probably called the police on them as well when they tried to convince her to take her false testimony against them back. And ironically, she's calling law enforcement as patriotic and good men. Yeah, well, you have some record with them, lady, and it doesn't look like you think of them as patriotic and good men, looking at the fact that your actions show that you're all for the greed for my brain savant money. It kind of looks like you want revenge from me for not marrying your daughter and giving her all of my brain savant money, which you're still sending me requests for even today. And it's because of that you have to refer to them as patriotic and good men, but the records do not show that she thinks of them as patriotic and good men. In fact, there's a police report alleging stalking, attempted rape, and attempted murder against the person in law enforcement who receives the money from this very team. A person in law enforcement from this very team who is the person who receives the money every single month from the defrauded unemployment and disability money. She, Farah the Greedy Framer, has filed a police report against that individual for attempted rape, attempted murder, stalking, all kinds of things. And she is claiming now that these people, this entire team over here, is very patriotic and good men. Her actions speak otherwise. And she's also claiming that I am a very bad person, my brain savant should get locked up, while at the same time her actions speak otherwise, because she sent me 51 blackmail price tag 51 forced marriage requests, clearly showing that she doesn't even think of me as being aggressive, since aggressive people are very keen on getting revenge, and if she thought of me as being aggressive, she would not be trying to force me to marry her daughter. Mainly, I'm not even gonna lie, I've literally changed my tone of voice nowadays. I talk very harshly towards people, and the reason is due to autism. My face is really regressed. If you look at May 31st, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. They change my face a lot, depending on whatever they feel like it looks the worst in. But my face is really regressed, and people look at me like almost like as if I'm some sort of a duck or something. Like they'll just like tell me like, "Come on, ducky, come on," and they'll put me inside a cage, lock it up, and take me home or something. You know, it's like I said no the first time, June 16. I was like, I do not want your daughter, lady. I really don't. No, thank you. I said no, and like I've received 51 forced marriage requests. Like these people are insane. Anyways, yeah. So she is claiming that these people in law enforcement are patriotic and good men. She has filed a very aggressive police report against a member of this law enforcement team, the same person whom law enforcement arranged the defrauded unemployment disability money to go to every single month. A very aggressive law enforcement report, the kind of report that someone would report right before they get murdered or raped, except she wasn't getting murdered or raped. And we know this for a fact due to the fact that her brother talks to that person whom she filed a report against, and she's totally okay with it. She'd just be like, "Oh, that guy. Oh, that person, that almost raped me. Yeah, well, go right ahead. Talk to him. Well, I'm just going to help you out with your trial right now. You go talk to him." Like, lady, that report, if you read that report, you will see that it's a very aggressive report against someone. Literally someone who's about to literally murder you. Not anything short of that. Literally someone getting murdered, about to getting murdered, and it is because of that report, how badly exaggerated that report is, that the Indian government, after they read it, you got to remember, Indian government looks over that part of the world like a hawk. They know everything that's going on. So yeah, when Indian government read that police report, they were shocked. They were like, "Oh my God, U.S. law enforcement's about to murder you. We're going to go talk to Joe Biden about this." I am not joking. If you read that report, that Farah the Grady Framer, who is claiming that these people in law enforcement are patriotic and good men, who, if you read the report that she made against a member of this team, this very team member whom the defrauded unemployment and disability money goes to every single month, if you read that report on how aggressive, how exaggerated, and that report is, yeah, you will be amazed at the level of exaggeration Farah the Grady Framer is capable of. She could literally get someone life sentence just from her exaggerations, is how good her reports are. Like, she could make false testimony to the point that she could get person life sentence from just a false testimony and or exaggerated false testimony of hers. That is how good her false testimonies are. And if you don't believe me, you got to look at the faces of people after November 20th, 2025. You have to also remember the fact that she was removed from the spokesperson stand as soon as it was announced that there was a government informant. She was removed from the spokesperson stand immediately, clearly showing that she was fully involved in using national security for her own envious agenda of locking up my brain savant only because I was refusing to marry her daughter, which is still going on. She's still sending me requests for her daughter. 51 forced marriage requests. After I said no the first time, it's 52 total, but 51 forced marriage requests, because she's basically saying, "I'm not asking you, I'm telling you, you got to marry my daughter." Like, lady, that's not how marriages work, and this is a scam, obviously. But the fact of the matter is, if you read that police report, you will come to find that Farah the Grady Framer is an expert exaggerator, considering the fact that if you read that police report and see how badly exaggerated it is, she could have gotten that person life sentence in the U.S. law enforcement team. He would have gotten a life sentence in the U.S. law enforcement team. No wonder the Indian government had to go lecture Joe Biden on that police report. And later on, we find out that her brother's talking to that person all day, night long. She's totally okay with it. She's like, "Oh yeah, the guy that almost raped and murdered me, that's fine. Go right back ahead, talk to him. I'm going to help you out with your trial tomorrow." Yeah, and then we later on find out that she was talking to the person and sleeping with him the entire time before she made that report. And the report, if you read that report, you will come to find that Farrah the Greedy Framer is an expert exaggerator. She could give someone a life sentence with an exaggerated false testimony. You got to remember the fact that after November 20th, 2025, that the government informant testified that she was involved in, due to which she was removed from the spokesperson stand. As soon as it was announced that there was a government spokesperson, it raised so much mass panic and chaos that no news anchor on CNN was able to smile on live TV for days afterwards, where a crime and setting did not even exist. It was fully made up by the government itself just to test how good of an exaggerator Farrah is. Also because Farrah had made a false accusation against someone in U.S. law enforcement, and U.S. government wanted to see exactly how good of an exaggerator she is. And well, they got a little dose of reality, because Farrah is really good at exaggerating false testimonies. If you want someone to have a life sentence, you got to get Farrah to go and make exaggerated false testimonies. You have to remember the fact that Farrah, at this very time, who made the false testimony against me on November 20th, is sending me requests for her daughter. So clearly she doesn't think that I'm a bad person. Obviously not, because the crime and setting didn't even exist for November 20th. But still, she's claiming one thing in court, and her actions are showing something totally different. Same thing that happened with the person in U.S. law enforcement. If you read the police report for the one that Farrah the Greedy Framer made against the person in U.S. law enforcement in 2019, the same team members that she calls patriotic and good men, and you look at her actions, of telling her brother, yeah, the guy who raped and murdered me, you go right ahead and talk to him. I'm going to go back to helping you out with your trial tomorrow. Her actions are totally different from her words. She's claiming in police report that this person is trying to rape and murder her, to the point that when the Indian government read that police report, their hair just started to stand, like, oh my God, such a terrible thing. So when U.S. law enforcement did, to the point that they had to go lecture Joe Biden on this. And like, I'm laughing because later on she found out that her brother was talking to that person all day and night long. And she was just like, oh yeah, the guy who almost raped and murdered me, that's fine. Go right ahead, talk to him. I don't care. Like the next day, she's like narrating in the trial for him. Farrah the Greedy Framer is trying to enviously lock up my brain savant, and by claiming that I'm a terrible person, only because I didn't marry her daughter, obviously. And at the same time she's doing this, the exact same time she's doing this, she is also sending me forced marriage requests for her daughter. It's one or the other. No one wants a bad person to marry their daughter. Not just one, but two daughters. And look at the pictures that she sent me for her daughters. It doesn't look like someone who dresses up like a nun would send that picture in the first place. I'm just saying, this woman's actions are totally different, separate from her words. Her words would be one thing. In police report from 2019 against the person at U.S. law enforcement, that guy could have gotten a life sentence from this police report. And her actions are totally different. Like she's telling her brother's talking to him all day and night long, who almost got a life sentence because of her. And she's like, yeah, the guy who almost raped and murdered me, you go right ahead and talk to him. And it's just like, she's claiming in court that I'm a terrible person whose brain savant should get locked up, obviously because I didn't marry her daughter. And at the same time, she's advertising not just one, but two of her daughters in this sexually explicit picture. Like, it doesn't look like someone whom you think is a bad person you would send this to. This looks like the kind of picture you would send to like a future billionaire or millionaire that you think that should marry your daughter. Not a person that you think is a bad person, a person that you think could be extremely rich, due to which you're trying to enviously lock up my brain savant so no one else's daughter could get the money. And at the same time, you're trying to greedily run after me and sending me these pictures of your like daughter that are supposed to be very sexually explicit, almost as if you're sending me nudes of someone resembling your daughters, not just one, but two of her daughters. And at the same time, she's claiming that I'm a very bad person whose brain savant should get locked up because I'm such a terrible human being. And then at the same time, she's asking me to marry her daughter using these almost nude-like pictures, where the girl in the blue, look at her bottom, and the girl in the gray, look at her top. That's supposed to be Zara and Ifra, her two daughters. And she's claiming in court, Farrah the Greedy Framer is claiming in court that I'm a very bad person whose brain savant should get locked up. And this bad person whose brain savant should get locked up only because she doesn't think I'm going to marry her daughter. Well, when she wants to advertise her daughter to me, this is how she advertises it. Almost as if she's sending me nudes for someone resembling her daughters, where look at the girl in the bottom, the blue. The girl in the blue, look at her bottom. And the girl in the gray, look at her top. Like, seriously, like, yeah, and it doesn't look like something you would send to a person whom you think is a terrible person. It looks like something you would send to someone who you think is about to become extremely rich but not marrying your daughter, and you're really pissed off that he's not marrying your daughter, and now that you see that the June 24th brain savant test was overanalyzed, you want to, like, greedily get him to marry your daughter, even though you're dressed up like a nun. You're going to send him almost nude-like pictures of girls resembling your daughters to try to get him to marry her. She's saying one thing in court, that I'm a bad person, but you got to remember the fact that no one wants a bad person to marry their daughter so badly that they're sending almost nudes for their daughter. Anyways, let's get back to Fur the Greedy Framer and why we know that this patriotic and good men speech that she's trying to do is only due to the fact that law enforcement is trying to, she's getting help from law enforcement to enviously lock up my brain savant to get revenge from me for not marrying her daughters. Obviously, like, look at the pictures she's sending me. Every single day I get a request for me to be forced into marrying her daughter, which I said no on June 16th. Like, this is really annoying. I said no on June 16th. I was like, lady, I don't want your daughter. Like, I don't know how else to say this. I said no. And she sent me 52 requests total, out of which 51 are forced marriage requests, and 37 are confirmed prenup marriage scam requests. Basically, try to get me to sign that $60 million in a prenup, and when I run away from her, obviously after the trial is done, she's just going to harass me in court all day and night long be like, he signed away $60 million, he still didn't get it. This is how disgusting these people are. My brain savant isn't even freed yet, and they're already lusting after the money, which is exactly why I never told anyone about it, and law enforcement did. Well, anyways, yeah, very irritating. It's not even freed yet, and these people are asking me for money like money predators. Anyways, she doesn't think these people are patriotic and good men. Trust me on that. And she's only doing this due to getting help for locking up my brain savant out of revenge due to the fact that I'm obviously not marrying her abnormal looking weirdo daughter Zara, like, or any of her daughters. I don't want them. I said no. Like, I'm good, lady. Really, thanks. Thanks for asking. But yeah, so the human rights crimes were, after mass panic and chaos was created, human rights crimes for the person in law enforcement. So crimes only to get revenge from a person in law enforcement sleeping with her while claiming to be a big shot and a rich man. Basically, a person in law enforcement, U.S. law enforcement, was claiming to be a big shot and rich guy, due to which she was sleeping with him. And in the end, she finds out that he was really broke. And when she finds that out, she takes revenge on him. And if you read the police report on it, like, you would just be like, man, lady, all that for a guy being found out as being broke when you thought he was rich guy and big shot that you were sleeping with, and then she finds out that he was actually broke. Like, how do I know this? Because of the fact that he runs all the frauds. All the money from the unemployment disability that law enforcement runs with their BFFs, they all go to him. So obviously he's broke and he pretends to be rich. So that's basically what's going on. When in the end, Fur the Greedy Framer found out that all of his money were all stolen and defrauded, due to which I'm 100% sure that the defrauded disability unemployment money since 2022 is going to him rather than anyone else. I need this journal to please be read out every time Fur the Greedy Framer refers to these people in law enforcement as being patriotic and good men, so that the courts can please make their own decision on whether Fur the Greedy Framer really does even think of them as being patriotic or good men, or whether she just thinks of them as being people who gave her multiple false testimonies against me, only to help her enviously get revenge from me for not going for her abnormal looking weirdo daughter named Zara. And now, starting July 14, only 6 days ago, it's also Ifra as well. The thing that the courts need to understand is the fact that Fur the Greedy Framer does not think of these men in law enforcement as being patriotic or good men, and nor has she ever before either. It goes without saying that when people in law enforcement promise Fur the Greedy Framer before even the month of November 2025 that they would give her false testimony against me, that Fur the Greedy Framer would then work on with her Greedy Framer sister, the spokesperson Greedy Framer mother, that the government informant witnesses Fur the Greedy Framer being fully complicit in, basically the November 20th false testimony, due to which Fur the Greedy Framer gets kicked out of the spokesperson stand the moment a government informant being involved was announced. So basically, as soon as it's announced that there was a government informant, and the first thing the government does is kick out Fur from the spokesperson stand. They're like, no, you hold envy against him. Now, the thing about it is, the reason I'm calling this corrupt is due to the fact that's not the only lie in false testimony. Even after that, you had more false testimonies that she made that were already confessed to the government informant as being false. And then after that, you had blackmail price tags for $60 million 8 times since February 21st to try to force me into giving her illegal assurances of the money. And then you had incest requests on March 7, 2026, 3 times, even though it was labeled as an incest request on February 11th at 3:17 a.m. They were told, like, don't send this ever again. Incest is illegal, and like, this is open advertisement for incest due to greed. And now when she found out that the Brain Savant test for June 24th was overanalyzed, finding out that I am Rain Man with innovation and focusing, and despite me being a fully functioning member of society, unlike the other autistic people that have Brain Savants, well, a lot of them are not fully functioning members of society. They just can't function in society. Anyways, so as soon as that happens, on 6 days ago, on July 14th, she sends me the kind of picture that, would put a person to shame. Like, just look at it. The tile for the girl in gray and the bottom for the girl in blue. A woman dressed up like a nun is sending this to me for her daughters. Like, this is insane. But yeah. So with this November 20th false testimony obviously only being made against me due to Fur the Greedy Framer's anger and hatred, along with envy at the fact that other people's daughters would end up getting the Brain Savant money that Fur the Greedy Framer could not trick me into giving her to her abnormal looking weirdo daughter through marriage, so that no one else's daughter could get that money either, by making a false testimony against me like the one that Fur the Greedy Framer made against me on November 20th, 2025, by prepping her sister, the spokesperson's Greedy Framer mother, Ibrahim's mother, for it to cause mass panic and chaos in the news media after November 20th, 2025, only to try and lock up my Brain Savant, only so that no one else's daughter could get the money that Fur the Greedy Framer could not get. Even right now, while I am writing this journal, I received a blackmail forced marriage request from Fur the Greedy Framer for her abnormal looking weirdo daughter named Zara only a few minutes ago, July 14th, 2026 at 6:08 a.m. That's when I was writing this journal. Fur the Greedy Framer received a false testimony to be made against me for Fur the Greedy Framer to get revenge from me for refusing to go with her abnormal looking weirdo daughter named Zara with my Brain Savant money, which Fur the Greedy Framer was fully involved in helping to exaggerate as much as possible to her sister, the Greedy Framer spokesperson's mother, only to try and enviously lock up my extremely rare and profitable Brain Savant, only so that no one else's daughter could get the money that her own daughter Zara could not get. As seen from the blackmail forced marriage request from just a few minutes ago. Fur the Greedy Framer might be labeling people that are continuously sending the man who was supposed to rape and murder her as being patriotic and good men, but call me crazy, but this does not make any sense to my common sense. Yeah, the courts need to be fully made aware of the fact that Fur the Greedy Framer made an accusation against the person from this law enforcement team to whom the disability unemployment fraud money's share goes to since at least the year 2022, and Fur the Greedy Framer is completely fine with calling these law enforcement team members as being patriotic and good men. So basically, these people in this team have been sending the same guy that she made that scathing report of, that police report, calling out attempted rape and stalking and attempted murder. Like, you would not believe it. Like, raised eyebrows across India. Like, what is going on over here? Only for us to find out that she's calling these people patriotic and good men, and she made that false testimony against a member of this law enforcement team. So it could be one or the other. Either they're patriotic and good men, or they're the people who are sending money to the person in their own law enforcement team every single month who she made the police report against, that was fully exaggerated to the point that it raised eyebrows all across India. Like, how is this happening? This woman is getting raped and murdered, and we do not know anything about this, and they had to go lecture Joe Biden on it. So it's either this this law enforcement team is incredibly patriotic and good men, or that she made that false testimony against them that was fully exaggerated to the point that it raised eyebrows all over the world. Like, how is this even happening? Yeah, so that it comes to show you exactly how much of a good fabricator and exaggerator Farrah the Greedy Framer is. She is a master fabricator and exaggerator. If you read that police report, by the way, it will take away your night's sleep, is how bad that police report is. And it's coming about a person whom now she's claiming is a patriotic and good man. And it's coming about a person whom she knows that is part of this team, who's coming about a person whom her brother talks to all day and night long, and she doesn't care. And yet the police report filed against him is so badly exaggerated that it would, if people in this courtroom read that police report, it would take away their night's sleep, is all I have to say. And I'm going to continue this on in a little while.